In today's video, we're going to be taking a deep dive look into the upcoming pattern for one thing, where we do have a big time cooldown underway that is bringing fall-like temperatures here for the near future. We're also going to be taking a look at the long range pattern in September and even beyond into October and November this time around, where things are looking potentially the coldest that they have in years. I'm talking 10 or 20 plus years, because it's been very, very long since we've had a straight up cold fall time through and through, and it does appear like that is a possibility this year. So we're going to be diving into all these things, as well as a big time tropical threat that is currently out there, where really the Gulf and East Coast both need to be on high alert. So with all that being said, let's just dive into it. Let's take a look at tomorrow afternoon on Sunday, August 11th. What we're seeing is this pocket of thunderstorms and showers around the Rockies, especially the Four Corner states, and then into the plains here as well. And we've been talking about this for quite some time. I would say for about a week or two, we've been really calling for an active pattern here across a lot of your Rockies and the plains, especially the northern plains there. We do have quite a bit of activity still sitting tight over the southeast. This is not associated with Debbie at all. This is just typical summertime thunderstorms that are around. So keep that in mind, that this is quite typical stuff. Could bring about some heavier rainfall, though, of course. For a lot of your upper Midwest, into the Great Lakes, Northeast, and even Eastern Canada, we do have some showers and thunderstorms. These are actually left over from Debbie, so these are associated with Debbie, but really things have died down quite a bit since that storm is said and done. What a doozy. It lasted so long, and obviously was an extremely major storm. It's probably a 50-50 chance if Debbie gets retired, honestly, the name Debbie. We had many tornadoes, many states dealing with flooding, and I think like 4 or 5 state of emergencies between Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and New York. Those are the ones I know of. There could have been some others in there as well. So super major for a tropical storm. That's why I said, it doesn't matter if it's a category 1, 2, 3, or 4, or even a tropical storm. The flooding and the tornadoes don't really care what category it is. It's only wind that category dictates. So keep that in mind as we are entering into a potentially historic hurricane season. Let's take a look here at Monday afternoon, tomorrow, from the time, or better yet, 2 days from now from the time I'm making this video. This will be August 12th. And you can see that there is really a lot of thunderstorms and showers. You take it from kind of the British Columbia area there of Canada down through the Cascades and the Rockies. There we have just this active pattern with some pretty broad low pressure around. Overall, quite a bit of thunderstorm activity and showers around. Now the plains and Midwest, still dealing with some activity out there. And then along the Gulf and the East Coast, once again, we're seeing quite a bit of activity here also. Let's take a look at Tuesday, August 13th, and what we see here is thunderstorms and showers around for Western Canada. Again, in through a lot of the western states as well. So for, again, the Rockies, some of the plains and the Cascades, we are once again seeing showers and thunderstorms. We see here in the east that there is some sporadic isolated thunderstorms and showers, but nothing too major at this point. Now, as we take a look here, we're going to just move on towards Wednesday the 14th. We do see that there is a little bit more activity across some of the Midwest here, as this area is kind of just spreading, where a lot of this activity is kind of flourishing. We're seeing also the tropical threat here across the Caribbean. So right there, kind of just north of Puerto Rico. So we have these thunderstorms present throughout the states, really picking up some steam. And then we have this tropical activity where we really need to be on high alert for the East Coast or the Gulf of Mexico still, or out to sea, which is what a lot of these models are calling for. But I want to remind you, anything is possible. So we're really going to track this one before we try to pin it down. And I've always said this with every storm, and it's saved me a lot of times and probably gotten better information out to my viewers, because things like Debbie, originally the models expected that one to be off the East Coast. And you know what happened? It ended up going into the Gulf and hitting Western Florida. So these things do change, and they can be consistently showing the wrong thing for a long time and then suddenly flipping. So that's what makes it so hard to predict. Now, as we just move on towards Thursday the 15th, we see this storm is actually expected to be quite major. We see it there on the very western edge here of this map, but it is a strong low pressure system, and it is rapidly intensifying. We see east of the Rockies here, we're seeing thunderstorms and showers here across a lot of your plains. Midwest states and even a lot of the deeper south here. So things are kind of exploding from the south there. New England also dealing with some showers and thunderstorms, perhaps. Again, that's Thursday the 15th. Here is Friday the 16th. And what we see is that this is continuing to move further and further eastward, now looking mostly at the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, down through the deeper south there. There is some pretty broad low pressure sitting over these areas, and that is really aiding in really a lot of that activity. We do see that storm is very, very far west, that tropical activity. By Saturday here on the 17th, we see that this storm system is almost reaching the east coast with a stronger low there over portions of Canada. Let's keep going. And as we take a look at Sunday, August 18th, we do see that we have kind of reached the eastern seaboard here with this cold front, and we have another round of cold air expected around this time as we get this kind of Arctic front moving in. As we keep going towards Monday, we really see a big time ridge here across some of the central states, and then a big trough here over the east. So this will be another cooler day for sure. And then let's take a look at Tuesday real quick, and still kind of in a cool down right here along that eastern area. Now, the GFS model, I want to kind of take a look at the tropics here on this model. We do see our main tropical threat right here, and it's going to basically do a little bit further west than what the European model showed. I think I kept referring to east as west in this previous portion of this video, so excuse me if I did do that. I keep doing that on every video, like saying the wrong thing and then realizing later that I've been calling it the wrong thing. But yep, here we are. Now as we just continue on, I'm going to take a look at it. It does hit those very eastern Caribbean islands, moves through towards Dominican Republic and Haiti, actually slamming into those areas. And then as kind of like a 970s type millibar storm, it does move off. It is still off the east coast, but it's a whole lot closer than what the European model showed. So we do see it relatively close. The European model was probably a step further towards the east there offshore. Another thing to note is by this point in late August or mid to late August, we're seeing another round of tropical waves moving through. So it is really not looking to slow down anytime soon. We get multiple coming off of Africa, and overall there's just a plethora of activity from the Caribbean all the way back towards Africa. You can't really find a dry spot. So tons and tons of tropical moisture. There's going to be many, many more threats to come through the month of August, and then especially September. Ooh, we're in for a busy one, guys, for real. Now, as we take a look at the precipitation anomalies, as I've kind of predicted, we're seeing this slow down even more and more here along the east. Average to below average precipitation for a lot of areas in the east overall. Areas like this especially in the deeper south here where things have been dry for a while now. We do see that there is quite a bit of precipitation expected, and we saw this earlier for the Rockies there and then the plains, so that is something to keep in mind. Let's go ahead and take a look here at probably why a lot of you are even watching this video, the temperature anomalies. Here we are, and I mean, as we speak, a brutal area of an Arctic air mass is located over the plains and some of the Midwest. Temperatures about 10 to 15 degrees below normal in areas that have pretty frequently this summer seen temperatures that are 10 to 15 degrees above normal. So we're looking at a 20 to 30 degree flip from what we've been seeing at kind of the height of some of these heat waves. So definitely going to be a noticeable cool down and probably bring fall temperatures about for a lot of areas. Let's just see how this progresses. We do see that it moves into the east through the early to midweek point. So this is Tuesday the 13th. We still see it over a lot of the east. Slowing down by late week. We do see it kind of stick around for the east coast. We usually call this a backdoor cold front when the cold air gets kind of locked here to the east of the Appalachian Mountain Range. So if you were to take those Appalachian Mountains in here, kind of a rough drawing of it, sometimes the cold air gets kind of trapped to the east of it. And that's kind of what this looks like to me. Areas to the west of this, seeing obviously some warmth by this point, but that backdoor area is allowing cold air to come in from the north. Very interesting. As we keep going, we see that it kind of stays relatively cool like that along the east coast, staying warmer along the central states, and then colder again for the west coast. So very, very interesting. Let's take a look here at the CFS model for kind of a long-range look, and we're going to take an even longer range look in a moment. But we do see this current cool down. This is in 5-day increments. So this is the 11th through the 16th. There's the 16th through the 21st. So we warm back up, obviously. 21st through the 26th, still looking quite warm. But here's the 26th through the 31st. And look at this. We get another massive Arctic blast here in the east. Really an early fall pattern. I've never seen fall try to enter into the states this early on. It's kind of like we're in September. is the weather that it feels like we're having. Very interesting to say the least. And really what's aiding in all of this is these warmer temperatures out west. This is called a positive PNA, and this forces the cold air to move eastward and southward, and that's what we're seeing right here, of course. Let's take a look at the 31st through the 5th, still very cold. So as we enter into September, 5th through the 10th, still quite cold. 10th through the 5th, still. 15th through the 20th, it's still pretty cool in the east, but we're seeing a little bit in the west as well. And then look, the 19th through the 24th, the end of this model run, we get another really blast of this cooler air. September could feel a lot more like October if this ends up being accurate, which would put us about a month ahead, obviously. Very interesting. Now, as we take a look at the monthly look, here is August on the CFS model. So cooler in the east overall. We're kind of expecting that. September, same thing here. Look at the warm out west as well. So a healthy positive PNA with cold in the east. October, once again, cold in the east compared to normal here. Looking at 1 to 5 degrees below normal there in the east. And that's even cooler compared to normal than August or September were. So it's actually getting dramatically worse with time. And then November as well, a little bit less anomalously cold. I don't know if that's for sure a word, but we're going to use it. Anomalously cold here along the east. A little bit of a warm up across the central states, but there's still quite a bit of cool air to work with along the east. Very, very interesting stuff to say the least, guys. As we take a look at the tropics real quickly, we've gone from code yellow to code orange to code red in back-to-back days here with this one. And now we currently sit at a 40% chance of development over the next 48 hours. So over the next 2 days, it's almost a flip of a coin. And then over the next 7 days, we now have an 80% chance of development with this one, guys. So it is looking highly likely that this system is going to end up developing. And again, we cannot rule it out really heading anywhere. So the Gulf, Central America's there, anybody in the Caribbean, and then along the East Coast, everybody's going to want to be on high alert for this system. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. We do upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.